Hello. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, November 5th, post-election day, 2025. It's actually Weird News Wednesday, Ted. Or today, it doesn't really rhyme, but Sexy News Wednesday? You're into this?
Yes,
If you're into this,
Sexness Day.
if you're into this sort of news, yeah, there's at least half the stories in here today are kind of sexual in nature. We'll explain.
True. I wouldn't say they're sexy in nature.
Yeah. Sexual in
Mhm.
nature. There is a distinction and there is a difference, and we'll explain why. I'm Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rawl. You are tuned into the Ted Manila Information Show. Welcome to all you deprogrammers. Hope you guys stick around for this weirder news show midday, mid-morning. We do it live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, and the share button, especially the share thing, because that really, it helps our organic growth. It really drives the organic growth of the show. So you could do your part by just sharing some of our clips. So with that, we'll get to all the news. But we're not gonna dive too far into all of this stuff. You guys know it's election day yesterday. The Democrats, I think it's safe to say, Ted, Democrats swept in every major election.
Romped, as the New York Post likes to say, a word that you never hear, but yes.
What do they call it?
They romped.
Romped?
Yeah, they romped. Like a romper room, like they romped.
I was going to say it was more like when you go have a romp with somebody, a deja vu.
Speaking of which, yeah, that's
rendezvous,
true too.
A romp. They called it a romp? That's stupid.
Well, I don't know if they called it a romp, but whenever there's a big win, like by one side, they'll be like, "Oh, like the Yankees romped," or whatever.
I don't think that sounds right.
There's tabloids. You know how there's tabloid vocabulary that doesn't exist in the real world.
Yeah, I'm not with that one. But anyway, so we're not going to get into that because you can hear about that everywhere else on the interwebs. So
yes, you can.
So with that, let's get to some of our top stories that we did select for you, because you probably aren't hearing about it. All right, first things first. Obviously, you have to start your Wednesday with sex dolls, Ted. Obviously. So, Chinese fast fashion giant Shein is once again under fire, this time not for its labor practices or environmental waste, but for selling childlike sex dolls on its platform. The discovery has ignited international outrage and renewed calls for stricter oversight of online marketplaces that blur the line between mainstream retail and unregulated adult content. According to consumer watchdogs and child protection groups, Shein's marketplace listed dozens of sexually explicit products that appear to depict minors, some described as teen-style dolls. While the company claims the items were uploaded by third-party vendors without authorization, critics say that explanation falls flat given Shein's scale and data-driven precision. The retailer, which has built a $1 trillion valuation on algorithmic trend tracking and micro-targeted advertising, is being accused of turning a blind eye to potentially illegal merchandise in pursuit of profit. The controversy comes as Shein makes a high-profile push into the brick-and-mortar retail sector, opening its first permanent stores in Paris and announcing plans for more of those across Europe. The move is meant to legitimize the brand, long synonymous with hyper-cheap, ultra-fast fashion, but the juxtaposition of physical expansion and moral scandal has exposed the fragility of its public image. Lawmakers in France and the EU are already calling for tighter regulation on e-commerce imports, content moderation, and child safety compliance for online retailers. The situation echoes the downfall of Forever 21, once the darling of mall-based fast fashion. That company's bankruptcy, triggered by runaway growth, ethical backlash, and an inability to adapt to new retail norms, serves as a cautionary tale. Shein, despite its digital dominance, may be repeating history in real time, scaling faster than it can maintain oversight. Shein has since removed the offending listings and promised to, quote, review its marketplace policies. But for critics, the episode underscores a deeper question. When the pursuit of profit moves faster than the boundaries of decency, who's really accountable? The algorithm, the seller, or the empire behind them? So Ted, a lot of like moral questions there. I remember I'm part of that older millennial generation slash X generation that was still shopping at malls, right? And Forever 21. I mean, obviously, Gen Xers, like the mall was the place to go for and some the hybrid millennials, like the ones that are born in like the early 80s, they still shopped at the malls too. And so we all remember Forever 21, and it was, suddenly it was everywhere. And I think they started out in Southern California, much like the Pinkberry froyo craze. Suddenly they were
Mm,
everywhere. Although there is a weird, I'll get into that another day about the Pinkberry couple. I don't know if you know the controversy around them, but remind me to tell you
no, you can't just drop that in there.
you guys, okay.
Give me the 2-minute update.
Did you guys have Pinkberry
give
in
me the 411.
New York City?
Yeah. That's a good question. There's
They
one, or at
they
least
made it to Dubai.
there was one in Sag Harbor out in the
Oh.
out in the Hamptons. I don't know
Yeah,
if there is one in New York.
kind of a place. Well,
It's not my kind of thing, so I don't do it.
my thing.
You know, it came up on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I remember that.
Yeah. It made its way to Dubai, but then it fell apart because this couple, they're South Korean immigrants, and oh god, it's an awful story, Ted. So they expanded like massively in
My
the same way.
favorite kind.
Forever 21, the same way Forever 21's fashion brand just suddenly exploded and was everywhere. Pinkberry, the froyo brand, was everywhere. It followed me to Dubai, and it was a taste of home for me. But then the news broke about their flagship store in like downtown LA. And I guess the couple was like going through divorce because they got super rich super fast, and then something about the husband flipping out on a homeless guy and, like, beating him to death with, like, a crowbar.
What?
Yeah! I didn't follow up on it.
I don't even understand.
Yeah, so, obviously, the couple got rich really fast, and I guess they were starting to go through marital problems, and then they started going through divorce proceedings, and somewhere in the divorce proceedings, I guess a homeless guy approached him or something outside of, like, one of their big stores in downtown LA, and he flipped out on the guy and, like, I think beat the guy to death with, like, a crowbar.
So it didn't have anything to the victim had nothing to do with the divorce.
No, it's just he caught him at the time that they were mid-divorce and fighting over assets, and
the guy was just feeling grouchy.
and he flipped out and, like, killed a homeless guy in downtown LA.
Wait,
But anyway,
killed the dude?
I think he killed him.
Did
I
he
think
did
that's
he
if I recall
go to
correctly,
prison?
but
I mean,
I
was he
think
charged?
I never
Anything
followed
like
up
that?
on it, but I don't know if I was still in Dubai or it was somewhere thereabouts, like, in the 2010s, but I think so. But anyway, that's the cautionary tale of too much too fast, right? Like, it was
Like if you make a lot of money really quickly, you might end up beating a dude to death when you're
like
stressed
crazy.
out.
Yeah, you just snap, and so, like, I don't know.
I'm
So
not sure I buy that,
Shein,
but all right.
I don't know, people snap, man, when they start making too much money, and they kinda go nuts. But this couple was one of those couples that kinda went nuts, and, Forever 21, the fashion brand, same thing, but now Shein, I don't get why they built a junk fast fashion empire, which I'm against fast fashion. I actually like buying secondhand a lot. I'm, partially because, like, I don't like the quality, obviously, of cheap fashion, but secondly, like, the global impact of junk clothing that just piles up And it's really everywhere, and it creates massive waste. So I'm not a fan of fast fashion. But I know a lot of the younger people are. Obviously, that's their demographic. But it's so bad for the environment. And I don't understand, if you built an empire online, why would you move towards brick and mortar when Forever 21 just literally blew its last load for a second bankruptcy a year ago? Why would you move into the EU and try to open brick and mortar? That doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think it's just ego? I mean, like, where it's sort of like, it's sort of like in this day and age, you let's say you build up a successful web media platform, but it's kind of like some part of you is like, man, I really wish it was still in print because print is so cool. So I'll start a print edition. Do you think it's like that? Like when you're in retail, like, online's cool, but I really want to do brick and mortar. And I'm like, maybe you've never watched Shark Tank, where they always tell you not to do that.
Yes, don't they? Right? I've only caught a handful of like season 1 or 2 that you told me about, but I feel like that was the theme that the
it's
sharks
one of
were
the
always
themes,
telling
like,
people,
just that there's a
"Don't do
lot.
that."
Yeah, that there's a lot of your overhead is just massive. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know shit about retail, but even I know that.
Yeah, like if you have been successful online, why venture out into the real world? That doesn't make sense to me. When literally Forever 21 did that and they went bust because, Ted, the very reason that Forever 21 was undone by Shein. That's really, isn't that weird?
That is weird. All right, let's go ahead and get to get to the Shein story.
Oh, that is the Shein story. Well, part of it. And the other part was, the other ethical concern is why
We got to talk about the dolls.
If you're a clothing retailer, why are there sex dolls?
Teen style dolls. First of all, why are there sex dolls on this website at all? And then there's the question:
a clothing place.
Why would there be young-looking sex dolls? All right. Listen, I'm going to go there. This has been always a question for me. So this to me is related to the question of AI porn. So or sex bots.
Well, don't give away our other story.
I won't. But the point is that there's always been a question of whether simulated bad behavior could be a way to redirect the foul urges of people who, would otherwise hurt real human beings, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, would allowing people to rape sex dolls or bots, would that reduce? Would that increase? Would that encourage rape in society and normalize it? Would it be neutral and have no effect whatsoever, or could it redirect rapey urges into a victimless mode? Similarly, if you let deviants fuck childlike sex dolls, would they be less likely to fuck actual children?
Right, like harm children. Like that's.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't either.
But I mean, the point is, it's. I wish, seriously, this is something that someone should look into and figure out, because
it's a chicken or the egg argument, Ted. Because I've actually had this argument back in the RT days, literally in a back alley having a cigarette with some of the producers, and we were debating this because a part of me, the libertarian in me, says, well, if you're a consenting adult, you should be able to buy whatever the fuck kind of sex toy you want, right? If you're into whatever,
no matter how yucky the rest of us think it is, yeah,
right. But then the other libertarian side of me is saying, okay, well, we're in a capitalist society. If you want to produce these like disgusting little sex dolls that look like children, I mean, that's not something I would want to, capitalize on, that market. But if that's what your business is, it's a doll. You're not.
The question is it it's certainly victimless. The question is,
right,
does it encourage or discourage?
Correct.
Or have no effect
That's the
whatsoever
chicken or the egg. chicken or the egg argument.
It's the Andrea Dworkin militant feminist argument about pornography, right? Does imagery that objectifies women, does that feed into a narrative that leads to victimizing women for real, or does it, or not? And
or does it quell the urges of a sick
does the
person?
Violence, the violent rhetoric and violent imagery in our popular culture, in our video games, in our movies, even in our music, and in even coming from our politicians, does that create a generalized atmosphere of increased violence that then results in school shootings and so on? I don't think anyone knows, right? I mean, and we don't know if, like, the culture is showing this, like you're saying, Manila, the chicken and egg thing. Could it just be that American culture, popular culture, like Westerns and all that, Tarantino, it's reflecting our violent urges that are there anyway? And or is it both at the same time, and it's a feedback loop?
Right. I mean, we talked about that with our guest on Halloween, right? Like, she was Reanimate Her brought up a good point. That, I mean, she thinks it's and maybe I lean towards her answer here. It was that she thinks it's more based on the individual person's pre-existing mental condition or mental state, right? Like, a movie can make somebody snap, or a movie for the rest of us doesn't make us snap. And it's probably the same. I would venture to say that anybody that's what we used to call in the old days when I was in college, before we had laptops to bring with us to class, what we called sexual deviancy, is if that's your natural proclivity to begin with, like, that's where you're at, and having those access to those dolls is not going to encourage somebody who otherwise wouldn't have it, or vice versa, like it. So I'm going to borrow from Reanimate Her, and I think I lean towards that answer. I think it's if you're on the verge of snapping and a horror movie makes you snap and you go fucking Jason or Michael Myers on everybody.
Let's hope not.
Right. Like, that's you. But the vast majority of people are not going to do that. So yeah, I think I'll lean towards that answer. But it's not my thing to produce a childlike sex doll. It's not my thing to want to buy a childlike.
There could be good money in it, Manila. Don't rule it out.
I know, but it's not for me. Just like, just because they legalized gay marriage, Ted, I did not go get gay married. Did you?
Well, I thought about it, but then I was like,
yeah. Just because it was legal didn't mean I went and got gay married. So I think same thing. Like, just because you have sex dolls doesn't mean I want to go buy one.
No, that's fair.
Not my jam. All right. I don't know. I'll let the chatterers on the YouTube feed and the Rumble room, I'll let them decide. I don't know. Just is that? I want to know what you guys think. I'll put your quotes up. I'll put your comments up.
And here's the thing too, right? Like, so obviously, look, I've never been to Shein's website. I don't know anything about them, but
because you're not a 17-year-old girl, Ted.
So is it like Alibaba, where there's shit tons of stuff from?
I always thought it was their own branded merchandise. I didn't know that there were any third-party retailers on there. First of all, I thought it was just like a Forever 21, but digital. Because I've been to their website. When they were brand spanking new, like I would guess 10, 12 years ago when I first moved to DC, I'd heard about it. I wanted to try it. And I think I did a story about fast fashion back then, as it was an emerging thing, online fast fashion. And I bought a couple of things, and it was like dresses that you can get for like $2 or $3. I mean, does it fall apart after one wear? Yes. I mean, it's shitty, cheap fast fashion that's aimed towards, like, the girls in college dorm rooms. I thought I haven't been on their website since then, so I don't know. But back then it was their own branded merchandise. So I'm kind of shocked to read that there were third-party retailers posting sex dolls for sale. Weird.
It is weird, and I guess the point is that they obviously don't have a feeder system. They don't have anyone editing this stuff, right? They obviously have partnerships with some of their affiliates where they're like, we create a portal and you just upload your products and that's it. My syndicate has arrangements like that with several newspapers where I send the cartoon to the syndicate, and then the syndicate uploads it directly to the website of, say, the Washington Post. And there's no editor at the Washington Post who looks at it. It doesn't go into purgatory first. It doesn't go into yellow before someone clicks green and says, okay, that's okay. And so basically the way that, like, say, the Washington Post handles this is if there's tons of reader complaints, then they look at it and decide to censor it, which is really fucking strange. And it sounds like Shein has something like that here, where it's sort of like, it seems, no one wants to have editors or gatekeepers or pay them, right, to sort of watch all this stuff. There should be, obviously Shein should have people, a team of people,
some sort of moderator
every single, it's a moderation thing. Like, you can't, and obviously if they have any brains,
it's not a platform, it's not censorship. Like, I don't want to hear that. You're a retailer. Like,
when I was a syndicate editor, we weren't publishing anything. We were sending them to newspapers. The cartoonist would send the cartoon to me. I would look at it and send it out to the paper. 99% of the time you just send it. But still, I'd see it before it went out. And if something was strange and fucked up, I'd do something about it. I could stop it. That's, it's just weird to me that it's so basic. Like, this reminds me of, like, have you ever visited Bath in England, where, you mean the place? The place.
I have not.
Bath. They were Roman baths, and then the British.
Is that really why it's named that?
Yes, and the Roman Empire collapsed in England, and the Romans abandoned England and left, right? And so as the Middle Ages began, basically, they tried to maintain it, but the Romans knew how to desilt it, and the knowledge from father to son got lost, and then they silted up, and they basically just sort of forgot how to maintain the baths, and they silted up, and that was the end of them. That's sort of it's like sort of a society just turns retarded sometimes. And that's it seems to be like that's what we're going through across all sorts of things. Like, we've forgotten how to fund the government. We have forgotten how to pay food stamps. We have forgotten, how to do some really fucking simple things like deliver mail on time. Because we've gone full retard.
Well, that's to bring up a Scary Girl's comment here. She says, we're wondering where the next meal is coming from. We don't care about a whack-a-doll.
Right.
That's
fair.
That's true. That's true. But this, mind you, Ted, this is your people in France. I thought you guys were freaky deaky, no? Or is that the Germans?
Yeah, the French are pretty. The French aren't really pervy that way, because the French
guys have all the nude
the French
beaches,
are sexually open, so they don't really need to be. It's repressed societies like England, who are just think about in the United States, when you find or in England, whenever you find an MP hanging upside down in a dungeon in London with a red ball gag in his mouth, it's a Tory. It's not a Labour MP.
So then why are the French having
Larry
such
Craig,
issue?
wide stance, family values Republican, right?
Well, why the issue? Why the French Parliament taking issue with Shein's website when this has nothing to do with their website? This is a brick and mortar store, so they're using the website as leverage against the brick and mortar store to say, "Hey, so basically, what are they trying? What's the French government who keeps collapsing, right?
There is that.
What are they trying to, is this a shakedown of Shein? I'm not shilling for Shein. I don't care. I think it's dumb that you're opening a brick and mortar store. But anyway, I feel like perhaps the Macron government, given their own sexual drama with Brigitte, is like, what is the shakedown here? You're suddenly all puritanical, like with the website versus the brick and mortar store. I don't think they're gonna have sex dolls hanging at their brick and mortar store and like along the Champs-Elysees. Like,
No, I mean, obviously not. And it's, the thing that's funny is that in this particular respect, the French are actually very conservative people. And they would, not like this sort of thing. So I would,
okay. All right.
yeah.
Well, before we get to our next story, we got to get a word from our sponsor, Ted. So I'm going to go ahead and click that.
Great.
Let's get that in there. I'll do the reading here. All right. So you've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. We can vouch for that. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium. Promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and the content you actually care about. That's the deal. All right.
And a good deal it is, too.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, we're on here, so obviously you want to see more team infighting. It's Rumble content premium content, baby. All right, Ted. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, this is a surprising twist in the science of assisting sleep. So a new study's come out that suggests that melatonin, which has been sold, as you know, as a safe solution for people who have trouble sleeping, is actually pretty dangerous if you keep using it over the long term. So a team publishing preliminary findings at the American Heart Association looked into more than 130,000 adults aged around the age of 56, 61% of whom were ladies diagnosed with insomnia. Among them, over 65,000 took melatonin for at least a year. The results were pretty striking. Those long-term users were 90% more likely to develop heart failure over 5 years compared with peers who didn't use it. So in other words, that doesn't mean you have a 90% chance of developing heart failure, obviously, or I mean, you'd have to ban it, but it means 90%. So if your odds were 1% before, compared to people who don't use it, your odds would be 1.9%, right? That's the way to think about it. They also had significantly higher rates of hospitalization and death from cardiovascular causes. Lead researcher, whose name is impossible to pronounce, but I'm going to try it anyway, Akene Delichukwu Nadi, voiced caution. And this person said, melatonin supplements may not be as harmless as commonly assumed. He said the study establishes association, not causation, saying that insomnia, anxiety, or other use of sleep aids might be behind both the melatonin use and the heart risk as well. Experts said also to be careful. This is early, non-peer-reviewed data, according to Dr. Mohammed Rishi of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, who reminds us that underlying severe insomnia itself is, of course, also a major cardiovascular risk factor. Still, the findings land amid a broader concern. Melatonin is lightly regulated, and studies on its long-term cardiovascular safety are thin to none. For now, the Heart Association recommends focusing first on established sleep hygiene habits, adequate sleep duration, regular schedule, and limited screen time. If you've been using melatonin every night for months or for years, you might want to talk to your doctor. Your heart may have something up with it.
Jeez. That's
scary.
Well, Ted, so this is like, well, you and I established yesterday, neither of us fall into any of those negative sleep categories.
Nope.
And we both seem to have pretty good sleep habits, different habits, but good for our own, respective needs.
Absolutely. No question.
I have no problem. I've never had problems sleeping. But for the most part, other than a short blip in my 20s, I've always maintained a fairly good, healthy lifestyle. And I think that is ultimately the source of this. So the science for so long, trust the science, right? They kept telling you like, oh, melatonin is safe. It's non-habit forming.
True.
It's a chemical your body already makes on its own. Like, so if you dose with these external melatonin caplets, it doesn't matter because your body already creates it. So they told you it's safe. It's always trust the science until the science evolves. Until you don't trust the science. So this is like, man, it's like this mixed messaging, just like they told you to take baby aspirin to help thin the blood platelets, right? So you don't get a heart attack. And now they're like, maybe you shouldn't take baby aspirin forever. I think, for me anyway, my personal philosophy is it has everything to do with finding what's right for your body, eating well, and just leading a good, clean, healthy lifestyle. And again, this coming from somebody who for most of her 20s just abused the shit out of this, this body that was given to me. But I've done a full 360 and have since, like, that'll shake you if you lose your parent at 25, right? My dad died and he was very young. He was 57 at the time. Died of non-smoker lung cancer. Where's trust the science there, right? So, I was conflicted for a while, and then I did a 360. It kind of shook reality into me that this temple is temporal.
Might be a temple of doom.
Exactly. So, for me, I turned to leading a much healthier lifestyle, and I think everything, your gut microbiome, that helps you sleep, meditation, clearing your brain, all of that stuff will really help. And people don't take that stuff seriously. It's a lot of Eastern philosophy, obviously, involved in this. But if you have to take external sources for anything to help alleviate anything and say, like Vitamina Vegemin, the answer to all your problems is in this little bottle, right? Like I Live Lucy. That's a problem. That is a problem. You should not have to rely on some chemically created compound in a lab to fix your body. Your body is meant to self-regulate and self-adjust and self-heal, but you have to give it the right tools to get there. And I think a lot of Westerners, and I know people that have forever used melatonin and forever used whatever, we talked about Ozempic, right?
Sure.
As some shortcut. There is no shortcut. There just isn't a good shortcut there is no shortcut to good health. There is no shortcut to good sleep. You really have to condition your body and your mind. And so to me, like trust the science. Trust the science, they say. No, I'm going to tell you from 2,000, 3,000 years of Eastern medicine that says, no, all of this stuff is not external. It's internal and what you put into it to begin with. Look, good stuff in, good output. And melatonin, it's a natural thing in your body. Yeah. No, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, but that's easier. That's obviously more easily said than done. I mean, a lot of people do all the right things, right? They don't drink alcohol, which disturbs your sleep patterns. They don't drink caffeine at night. They exercise regularly. They go for walks. They They try to minimize their stress. I mean, who doesn't? I love what they say that minimize your stress. Who doesn't try to minimize their stress? Nobody wants stress. Nobody's like, oh, I'm gonna get me some more stress. But I mean, people are doing, and they're suffering from. I mean, obviously there are simple things people don't do. Like, for example, we talked about cold room, heavy blanket, very important. But I mean, I think it's a struggle for a lot of people. It's just like trying to lose weight is like they're really doing everything they can, and it just nothing works.
Some people, yeah,
for sure.
I think a lot of, like, my dad was actually one of them, and he was like an insomniac to no end, and we just could never. But this is like, he died in 2006, so this is science has taken leaps and bounds and research, and I advise everybody, just like I did during COVID, I advise everybody to do their own research, even though it was, you were forbidden to do that during COVID. You had to trust the science. Well, we've come full circle, and I would tell people, like, I'm obviously no doctor. I didn't even major in anything medical. But just from my own self experimentation with everything from psychedelics to alcohol to whatever, to now finding a more holistic, healthy lifestyle in my full adulthood, post 25, right? We'll call, because really, I mean, you're really not mature, because you can't even rent a car until you're 25, right? So we'll say real adulthood really begins at 25. The frontal lobe of your brain fully develops for everyone, males and females, at the age of 25. So after the age of 25, after my dad passed away, that really opened my eyes to the homeopathic routes, but it's not easy. It's not easy, and it is a slog, and it takes a long time to get there. But when you finally get there, like, you suddenly see the effects of, like, better sleep, better skin, better aging, better hair, better everything. And for a lot of Americans, weight control and sleep are actually, like, tied. You know that, Ted?
Yeah, no, I have heard that.
Yeah, what weight control and better sleep.
Well, and obviously sleep. Yeah, because I mean, are you talking about the sleep apnea thing? Because if you're overweight, you're more likely to suffer from apnea, and then you wake up.
There's that too.
That thing.
And then there are other triggers in your brain. If you're somebody, it's its own feedback loop. Like, if you're somebody that's overweight and you're always constantly craving sugar and craving junk, you'll get up in the middle of the night because your body's craving that piece of chocolate cake on the counter. Like, and you'll get up in the middle of the night to eat. There are people that sleepwalk in the middle of the night, and which also interrupts your actual REM sleep.
When I was 16, I drove across the Metro Dayton area for donuts.
How is that even? I don't get sleepwalking.
I woke up in the parking lot of a donut shop.
Oh my
at, like,
God!
5 in the morning. I was like, well, since I'm here, I better get me some donuts.
Oh my God! So when you woke up, you're like, oh shit. Awesome donuts.
Yeah, exactly. I sleep drove several times in my life.
Well, that's a phenomenon I've never really explored. We should find.
I don't recommend it. It's not a good idea, especially if you drive like a tractor trailer. Don't do it.
Oh my God. We should really actually explore. I think that's a topic people don't often think about, is sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking is awesome.
Like, I've never witnessed it.
It's a bizarre phenomenon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what part of the psyche can animate your otherwise almost dead body to get up, and then you have no.
Right.
I bet you, Ted. I bet. And I only minored in psychology, so I'm so far from an expert on this, right? I have a fucking minor. I have 16 credits on psychology. So I bet you there is the part of the brain. I certainly didn't major in, like, neurology, but I bet you the part of the brain that lights up for the people that have multiple personalities, because one personality doesn't necessarily know what the other one says or did. right?
Yep, true.
I bet sleepwalkers, or in your case, sleep drivers, I bet it's the same portion of the brain that lights up. That's from my very limited, knowledge of like neurological disorders, I guess. But I bet it's the same part of the brain that lights up because there's a disconnect from your waking self, your sleeping self, and for the multiple personality people, maybe one of them likes to walk around in the middle of the night. Maybe one of them likes
Maybe
to
just is
drive.
hungry for donuts.
Maybe, yeah, don't know. But human psyche is weird, man. Super weird. And I think sleep is a part of that, and we have not really explored that part. And I think that part, just like with the we've done space exploration, but not much deep sea exploration. The
True.
sleep is the key, man. I really believe sleep. There are things that you will figure out about the human mind that are unexplored in sleep. And I don't know how you do it, but I feel like there is this something existential within sleep. I don't know. Maybe I'm like too hippy dippy California yogi over here talking, but I really do feel like there's something there in sleep and meditation, because meditation is kind of like somewhere in between sleep. You're aware and you're conscious, and you're being deliberate in meditation, right? And in sleep, they say you're undeliberate. You're not deliberate. So
yeah, because like it's sort of like breathing, how breathing is both a voluntary and involuntary function.
that's right.
Right. You can, I mean, you breathe while you're asleep.
That's right.
And
So
and you
like
breathe when you're awake, but unconsciously you're breathing, right? You're breathing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you
man,
can control
that's
your
scary.
breathing, hold your breath, and all that.
That's some scary news, Ted. I don't like hearing that news because, again, they told us for ages, right?
Well,
melatonin is natural.
I think I may have taken it once, and like before a plane or something. I didn't find it effective to avoid
everything because I don't take
stuff.
anything. Oh, really? Yeah, for me, because I don't take anything, everything has a weird effect on me. So when I took, I don't know why I tried. I think I just wanted to try melatonin. Just like in a gummy. Just like I was like, oh, everyone talks about melatonin. Let me try this. And I woke up and I felt like I had a hangover.
Yeah, really? Well, that seems like exactly the opposite of the point of this whole thing, right?
Is it? Oh.
I mean, but you're supposed to.
I don't have a sleep problem. Is it supposed to feel good, or is it just supposed to conk you out?
It's supposed to let you sleep, and then you feel better as a result.
And wake up normal, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, of course.
For me,
obviously,
no.
Yeah.
For me, no. It felt I woke up groggy, not quite hungover, like with a headache, but for me, I woke up groggy and less alert and just fuzzy. So I was like, ew, why do people, I'm not going to do this. Why does anyone do this? But well, here you go. There's the new science. Oh, this next story, Ted, I'm excited to get to. And I guess only because it's relevant, because I have a kid within this range. Shall we move on to the next topic? You have any last comments about melatonin? Okay.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. This could tie in sort of to the Mamdani win that we knew was going to happen in New York City. So New Mexico, in case people haven't heard, New Mexico is the first state in the union to offer statewide free childcare, universal childcare, regardless of income level. You could be rich, you could be poor. All kids are qualified to get free universal income ages 0 to 13. So basically up until middle school, which 13, you can kind of stay home alone by then, I would say. I mean, I did. So New Mexico is now the first state in the nation to guarantee free childcare for all families, regardless of income. The new initiative, which began November 1st, is expected to save families about $12,000 per child per year. Quote, childcare is essential to family stability, workforce participation, and New Mexico's future prosperity, said New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. By investing in universal childcare, we are giving families financial relief, supporting our economy, and ensuring that every child has the opportunity to grow and thrive. New Mexico has consistently ranked among the lowest in the country for child well-being, according to the 2025 Kids Count report. 60% of children ages 3 and 4 are not enrolled in school. State officials and child advocacy experts say the new no-cost childcare program could help reverse that trend. Quote, New Mexico is creating the conditions for better outcomes in health, learning, and well-being, said Neil Haffen, professor of pediatrics, public health, and public policy at the University of California, Los Angeles at UCLA. In addition to offering free childcare, the state has launched initiatives to expand access, including a campaign to recruit more licensed and registered home providers. It also established a $12.7 million low-interest loan fund to help construct, expand, and renovate childcare facilities. Now, Ted, a 2024 Pew poll shows that free childcare would greatly encourage more people to have babies. That can help America's declining, birth rates, the slump that we're witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
But give me your thoughts on that. I'm going to pull up a map about how much things cost state by state for childcare, and show the audience. I know how to do this now, to juggle between the. I don't have to go to the Rumble studio to do this. I just use our anyway. Tell me your thoughts on this. I think this is a huge boon. I think this is a great model for all the other states. Like, if you want workplace participation, you want workforce participation, especially for women, you want 100% of the people to be working, we'll provide freaking childcare. France offers a version of this. I don't know if it's totally 100% universal for up to age 13, but certainly a lot of European countries. Russia offers this. Hungary, I think, offers this. They offered, like, Viktor Orban in Hungary is super family friendly. They're offering bonuses for you to have babies, and then they'll I think they give you a subsidy or something, like a voucher or something, to help new parents put their kid in childcare. So that, like, we don't have anything like that in America. So this is hugely amazing, I think, for New Mexico. And granted, they're a sparsely populated state, but I think it's an amazing model.
So, I have long believed that, I've totally bought into the whole idea that Americans were getting married and having children later, in large part because of the lack of affordable childcare, and
sure.
affordable and decent and available childcare.
For sure.
And and it is true that most civilized countries offer this, like you described, Manila. Now, in the last month or so, however, new data has come out from Scandinavia, showing that countries that have really robust childcare systems, that actually it doesn't really seem to have any effect on increasing the fertility rate. It does not seem to actually encourage people to have kids. It does earlier or at all. It does not seem to have any effect. It seems like, for example, in Finland, women complain that, like, basically the men are subject to brain rot and are spending all their time playing video games and so they don't feel like they can find a suitable partner who makes them feel safe to raise a child with. And so we mentioned, we joke about following the science, but I actually do believe in following data. It doesn't look like it really makes a difference. If you're a natalist, it doesn't really look like this is going to make more kids. Now, that said, I still think what New Mexico is doing is great, and that every country in the world and every state in the union ought to do this. I think it's just simply a matter of being part of society and helping, obviously it's in society's interest to have more children and to have children raised, with proper care as much as possible. So it's a good idea, but I don't think it's going to have as a policy prescription for falling fertility. I don't think it's going to have that effect. I think it's simply like a nice thing to do, but I don't think it's like tipping your server. They're going to serve you food anyway, maybe with spit inside, but you don't have to do it. It's the right thing to do. This is like that. It's like the government should do it. I don't think it's going to have any effect because it's really clear that countries like France that do this, and I know people, I mean, I have relatives in France, and, they didn't have a whole passel of kids when the French government really stepped up with this. They had like one or two. Nothing's changed, or none. So, I mean, ironically, it's like it defies common sense. Common sense sort of says, well, clearly this would encourage people to have kids, but it's not true.
Well, Pew is obviously, Pew Research did this, and I'll show it here. Pew Research conducted this poll. I think it was last year. October of last year. And down here, question number 5 to P4. Well, obviously, it's a major source. Childcare is a major source of stress for most families.
Sure.
2 in 10
No doubt.
parents say that they need childcare. At least they had difficulty paying for it. Here, question 5. A majority of Americans say providing free childcare would encourage more people to have kids. The U.S. fertility rate reached a historic low in 2023, and Americans are much more likely to perceive negative than positive effects of fewer people having children in the future, according to a spring 2024 Center survey. Against this backdrop, 60% of U.S. adults say the federal government providing free childcare would be extremely or very effective at encouraging people to have kids in the future. So, I mean, that's at least the perception. And then when you look at freaking childcare costs, like right here let me share this, in Massachusetts, $26,700 for one kid? Like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit. How can anybody afford that? No wonder so many moms end up just staying home, because, I mean, if you're making 70 grand a year before taxes and childcare is taking more than a third of it.
Yeah, there's no point.
Oh my God. Why? Holy cow. $26,000? Or like this in Minnesota, 22,500. California, just shy, a few bucks shy of $22,000. That's nuts. New York State, well, see, it doesn't differentiate between the city and the state, but roughly $17,000 for New York State. It's a lot of money for a lot of people. Like Florida's down here at 13, Texas down at
that's
10.
that's after tax income, right? So if you have to shell out $25,000 for something in New York, you need to earn about $37,000 to earn that 20. So you said that if your salary is, 100,000, that's 100 minus 37, not 100 minus 25.
Right. Jeez, I cannot. Yeah. I'm going to go with Vicky's quote here. Vicky says, grandma needs to live with the family, make her an apartment. Vicky, I did the whole Eastern
I'm
family values. I shipped grandma over here from California. I made I made her close up shop in California when my son was coming. Like, she moved here with me, and thankfully we had the space for her to help. She wanted to be here. He was the first grandson, but I think there's so many benefits to that, not only financially for us as a family, but culturally, and the language exposure, and all of the benefits. And everywhere around the world, Ted, it's normal to have grandma in the house. It is normal.
Absolutely.
Everywhere in the world, everywhere, even in France, up until recently, it wasn't culturally taboo.
And it's still considered normal to have grandma and grandpa nearby.
Yes,
not as much as in the old days, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing, and well, we've talked about this on the show before too, Ted, was that, we are because of the costs, Americans are forced to have intergenerational households now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll leave that there. I won't go into. Let's get to the last fun topic because I already have a question to pose to you, Ted, about this. about this.
Okay. All right. Let me pull it up here. Okay. OpenAI's decision to let ChatGPT produce erotica for verified adult users marks one of the company's most controversial pivots yet, and one that's already rippling through the adult entertainment industry. OpenAI confirmed that it would begin allowing consensual adult content generation, in other words, making porn, under new safeguards, signaling a dramatic reversal from its longstanding prohibition on sexual material. Sam Altman, the CEO, frames the change as part of a broader philosophy to treat adults like adults, describing it as a natural step in AI's evolution toward personalization and emotional realism. Quartz reports that the shift raises both economic and ethical alarms. The $66 billion global porn industry faces a disruptive new competitor, generative AI, that can produce hyper-customized fantasies on demand. Performers and content creators worry about losing their audiences to digital companions who never age, tire, or want to be paid. I can't be flawless and perfect like an AI model that's created to be that way, one adult performer says. OpenAI says that the erotica tools will exist within strict consent frameworks and that users will be age verified. But experts say the move will blur boundaries between fantasy and exploitation, especially if text generation expands into images or deep fakes. Regulation is very laggy, as we all know. If users request simulations of real people or underage scenarios, the legal and ethical fallout could be severe. The development also exposes a deeper cultural tension as AI chatbots become more emotionally nuanced. They're increasingly being treated like quasi-companions. Researchers say that sharing sexual fantasies with a machine could normalize new forms of intimacy and dependency. The danger isn't that people will have sex with machines, one analyst said, is that they'll forget how to connect with each other. OpenAI's erotica experiment could open a lucrative frontier or a moral minefield. The company that once vowed to keep its creations safe and beneficial will soon find itself defining what those words mean in the age of algorithmic desire. All
So,
right.
Ted, while you were reading the article, I went to OpenAI's website and I'm showing their new Sora 2, Sora 2, which is their kind of like a video content creator, like hyper realistic video creator. And I mean, I'm sure you have to pay. I haven't like tried it out, but you can see Sam Altman putting himself and some of his staff putting themselves into these hyper realistic scenes, like in outer space or whatever. So I feel like maybe Sora is what they might be using for this erotica stuff. And there's the danger, right? It's like a multifaceted, but like, first of all, Ted, should we feel bad for all these college age girls that are making shit tons of money on OnlyFans? Because now you can just sign up for ChatGPT, the upgraded model, and then you can just create your own.
Well, I guess the question there is it's sort of like toll booth collecting, right? Like automated toll collections have abolished the toll booth collector. That was a job. Yeah. But frankly, I'm glad that job was eliminated because that's a job that required human beings to stand out in the middle of the highway, sucking up carbon monoxide fumes from cars all day long. Probably better for no one to have that job, right? Maybe being an OnlyFans girl is a job like that, where it's better that nobody do it. I don't know. Probably others will argue. I think the ethical problem. I mean, and by the way, I just want to say, Manila, there's also the problem of revenge porn, right? Like AI is already being used to create fake images of like real people having sex, right?
For sure.
I want to be clear though, I'm safe because I'm banned from ChatGPT. So no one can make Ted Rall porn on ChatGPT. It's like
There's
because
a
I'm not
segment of the
allowed.
population, Ted, men and
If
women,
you
that are
put
very
my name in there,
disappointed.
it's literally like, it's like, cannot process, do not know Ted Rall, do not know Ted Rall. Try it if you don't believe me. Go to ChatGPT and put my name in.
Well,
Just ask
look, Ted. I
anything.
mean,
Who's Ted
I
Rall?
I can
Tell me about the cartoonist Ted Rall. Whatever. Anyway.
I can now, have my Sam Altman fantasy porn. Great.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's going to be a
I
very
mean,
short fantasy, I would imagine, for most girls.
but see, now that you're not reading, you can see the video. Like, this is,
He looks like a weasel.
he looks like a psycho. But look, why would you need, is it James Cameron? Who did the big
Avatar.
people Avatar? Yeah, no, was it Cameron? Is it James Cameron? No.
Yeah, it was James Cameron who did Avatar, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Who needs him anymore? You've got Sam Altman with Sora 2. Look, this looks like Avatar. Look at it.
I'm looking.
And I listened to the video this morning.
It does look exactly like Avatar.
Sam Altman says with Sora 2, you can invite your friends in to this virtual world. I don't know if it's like a real-time thing.
This is like the metaverse that like Mark Zuckerberg's been working on.
Maybe. I don't know if this is a real-time thing or only in video. And I don't know all the details yet, but obviously this must be the platform OpenAI will use for this sort of porn stuff. Obviously it's a huge industry. He's going to take a big chunk out of OnlyFans. OnlyFans, as we know, is massive. But look, people are going to create their own movies out of this. So look, I'll look at the positive side of this. Like not porn movies that you can create for your own use. I wonder if people can then, if you buy the Sora I don't know if it's software, membership, subscription, can you then create your own movie? And then can you publish it and sell the movie with your own script and all that stuff if you used Sora? Not your porn, I mean a movie. Like, fuck James Cameron. I'll do my own.
I mean, James Cameron did. I mean, it's like, look, it's basically just, I mean, sort of like CGI. Was the origin of that stuff. It's a special effect, right? So I don't see why you couldn't. Obviously, there would be issues with using the images of real people because they get to control their images under federal law. So that's an issue. It's
a weird place we're at, Ted, where, I think too much overuse of all of this stuff really.
And it is true, man. We already have a problem with people not wanting to interact in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah. Philip Blair has a question for you on YouTube. Do Sora or Grok know Ted Rall?
Yes. I don't know about Sora.
Yeah, we haven't tried Sora yet.
But Grok definitely knows me. Perplexity definitely knows me. Claude definitely knows me.
Well, Sora is a GPT product, so Sam Altman does not like you. So
well, let's can anybody? Why doesn't someone?
You have to sign up and pay for Sora.
Doing a live podcast, go on and find out.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all these products.
I can't check because literally not only is my name banned from ChatGPT world, my account was blocked by ChatGPT at the IP level.
Weird. Wow.
Oh, Jeff Dornick's been on a tear about this over at Pickaxe for a while. He talks about like how dangerous it is, what's happened to me. It's happened to about a dozen people, including some really other high profile like attorneys Like a lot of them are more right leaning, have been banned by ChatGPT.
So they're
So
trying to like keep
who's that
the
attorney who's
moderation
always
content
who's that attorney
middle.
who's always on Fox, who's really great actually. Anyway,
Is it the Indian lady?
no, it's a white guy.
Oh, I don't know. On Fox, I'm not sure.
I'll find it.
Anyway, yeah, but anyway, I guess if you can, well, Ted can't use it, and I don't know how much Sora is. I haven't looked into that because ChatGPT.
Jonathan Turley is
Oh,
also banned.
no kidding! Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have the GPT Premium membership, but Sora is its own thing, and it just launched September 30th of this year. So it's only been out for like a month. I haven't tried it yet. I'm curious.
Why don't you check it out and see if I exist?
I'd be curious. I wonder if they do like a 7-day free trial. But anyway, this is some weird. Sam Altman is being able to do what Mark Zuckerberg was trying to do with the metaverse, and he's bringing it to market a lot faster. But this is not good for humanity, I'm going to say. But I think for tomorrow, Ted, I have a follow-up to this about how more connected I would say the Gen Zers are going. More hope for the Gen Zs. So I'll leave that there on a cliffhanger because not everybody is into this whole like digital everything, and I'm so glad because I'm very analog. I even have analog clocks around my house. So. All right, that's it for us. Teddy, I know you gotta go. I think there's one more ad that we're supposed to get to. Yeah. Yep, there's one more ad we have to get to. So I'll go ahead and click that. If you want to go ahead and bounce, we can do that too, because you got to go. So we'll. I'll hit our last ad. All right. So.
Okay.
All right. Word from our last sponsor for today. So still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You are getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. And a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just $99. That'll make a nice Christmas present for somebody. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Excellent. All right. So that's that. We'll be back tomorrow with some other news that you probably haven't heard anywhere else. Thanks for being here, guys.
Indeed. Bye.
Adios, amigos.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.